All right. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. We are so excited to start our new school year. I wanted to take a little bit of time and try to answer some questions that I'm getting a lot of through email. And then also feel free to put your questions in the Q&A. So this is being recorded. I don't know who posted all the health forms. That's interesting. This is being recorded. But you won't be seeing it. It'll just be the presentation in us, so you don't have to worry about that. But feel free to put your questions in the chat. All right, really quick, here's kind of what we're going to go over today. I want to point out a few things. One, we're having our virtual meeting right now. Thank you for joining us. Two, if you have a kinder kid, the Hullabaloo is next Wednesday at 10 a.m. This is where they're going to pick their flavors. Middle school open house is Wednesday, July 22nd as well. Sorry, I couldn't see, at 6 o'clock, and that's where they're going to get their schedules. And then elementary open house will be Friday at 5:30 to come and meet the teachers. So, Ileana, if your daughter is going in the middle school, I'm pretty sure Alaska is going in the middle school, then she'll get her schedule and meet her teachers Wednesday at the open house at 6 p.m. So next Wednesday. And the school supply list that's in my slideshow, we'll get there. All right, so really quick, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Alexis Black. I'm the head admin / principal here. I taught science at all grades 6 through 12 for 24 years, including a year here at Explore Academy. And then I served 2 years as the instructional coach. And then last year became the head admin / principal. So super excited to be here. And I'm going to introduce Mr. Zapata. Give me a second to mute myself.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Antonio Zapata. I'm the assistant principal here. I taught music pre-K through 12, university level, band, choir, orchestra, general music, musical theater for the 23 years before I entered admin, and this is my third year now as assistant principal here at Explore Academy. We're excited to have you here this year.
And just kind of a heads up, normally I deal with elementary stuff and Mr. Zapata deals with middle school stuff, but we are interchangeable as needed. So if you have a question and you're like, I don't know who to ask, you can ask either one of us. We will answer your questions. All right, so I want to start off with the biggest thing, and that's going to be the school dress code and school uniforms. This has been a constant, what do I want to say? A constant conversation, a constant source of stress on a daily basis, not with a lot of students, but just with a few. So I want to make it really super clear that all students must wear an Explore Academy shirt. Full stop. Explore Academy shirt. It can be any solid color. I don't care what color, but it must have the Explore Academy logo on it. End of story. I don't want to have a conversation about it anymore, right? Like that's it. That's it. Last year we tried to do a thing where we could let students wear any hoodie that they wanted as long as it didn't have a lot of graphics. That did not work. So we are going back to hoodies must be Explore Academy branded and have no other logos. So you can either buy your hoodie from one of the apparel places or you can get the logo and iron it onto a hoodie, but it cannot have any other graphics or logos on it. Okay. Shirts must be a solid color and cover the chest. Pants must fit with no holes above mid-thigh. If your student is wearing shorts or skirts, they must hit mid-thigh. I'll get there. Give me just a second, Lorena. And then they need to have closed-toed shoes with a back on it. Somebody asked at our previous meeting, are Crocs okay? Crocs are in sport mode are great. Our big thing is if we have to evacuate the building quickly and you're wearing flip-flops, it's really easy to walk out of your shoes. And so we would just want to make sure that students can be safe, especially if they have PE, they need to have good shoes on. Middle school students do get to go outside and run around like crazy people after lunch. We want them to have good shoes on. So that's kind of where that came from. And then students are not in dress code, we will be calling you to ask them to bring them a change of clothes, right? So just kind of, this is the dress code. This is what we're doing. As far as where you can find this stuff, you can buy the old Compass logo on Amazon. We are trying to transition away from that because all of the Explore Academies in New Mexico use that same logo. We are no longer associated with any of those, Explore Academies. So I'd like to phase that logo out and move to the dragon logo. So you can get the dragon logo at Ragged Apparel. Or you can have somebody make you the logo. We will have some to sell. I'm hoping next week. I'm working on somebody who can make those for us, and then we'll sell them for probably about $5 a logo. And then you can put it on any solid colored shirt. Hold on, I'm having a moment where I'm forgetting what I'm talking about. Oh, on Las Cruces, if you're a member of Las Cruces Supermoms, um, people are selling the logo. They also, I think I've seen it on Las Cruces Community Watch page, maybe. I'm not 100% sure, but we should have some here in the building next week. I just got to reach out to my person and see if they can get those printed up for me. If you have a Cricut and you know how to make the logos, you can shoot me an email, and I've been sending people the dragon logo. It does need to have the dragon logo and the words Explore Academy on it for us. So Lorena, hopefully that answers your question a little bit. If you are struggling and you need some help with uniform shirts, then there's a link on our website for the Family Needs Survey and Resource Support. We have a lot of shirts that we can help out with, but they're really only one color. We have a lot of just navy blue. So if you're good with navy blue, we got a lot of that. We also take donations of shirts that don't fit if they're still fairly clean. I don't know about your children. My children always stain the heck out of their shirts. But if you have some shirts that are gently used, we will 100% take those as donations and hand them out to any student who might need a shirt. Yvonne, it needs to have the school logo on it. We tried the completely blank thing and it didn't work last year. So that's where I'm saying if you want to go ahead and get the logo and iron it onto a hoodie, as long as that hoodie has nothing else on it, that works as well. All right. So feel free to add any questions in the Q&A as we're going through, and I'll try to hit them as we get there. Attendance policy. So school basically is Monday through Thursday, 8 to 2:30, and Monday to Friday, and on Friday, 8 to 1:40. We serve breakfast in the classroom for elementaries from 7:45 to 8:05. Middle school kids can get breakfast in the cafeteria from 7:30 to 7:55. Breakfast and lunch is free for all students, and it is a hot breakfast and hot lunch cooked here on site. What we are asking is that if you need to pick up your kid early for an appointment, that you do that before 2 o'clock on Monday and through Thursday. We have buses lining up. The parking lot gets super congested after 2, and it becomes an issue getting people in and out. If you have an appointment on Friday, we're asking you pick up your kid before 1. Same thing. The Friday parking lot is even more of a mess than the Monday through Thursday parking lot. If your student is going to be absent, if you can go ahead and email us at absent@ealascruces.com, then we can take care of that. You might still get calls, especially if your kid comes in tardy. We try to fix those as they come in, but sometimes people are busy and they don't have a chance to get to it before the calls go out. If a student is excessively absent or tardy, then we're going to call a meeting and ask kind of what supports can we give you to help you get your kid to school. We may have a contract about getting kids to school because really you can't learn if you're not in school. So we want to make sure that students are at school as much as possible. Now we know kids get sick. I'm not saying don't bring them to school sick, but if we're seeing some patterns emerge where kids are only showing up to school 2 or 3 days a week, then we're going to have a meeting because we need them here as many days as possible. Yes, after 10 days, when we haven't heard from anybody, then we're mandated to drop students. So we don't want that to happen. So we're going to be reaching out and asking questions. So I know that makes some people really grouchy, but that's the way the statute works. That's what we have to do. Drop off and pick up. So here's where it gets a little gnarly. For all students, drop off starts at 7:30. Middle school drops off in front of building 4. So as you come in, this green arrow, you whip around at the end. It's going to run parallel to Telshore, and middle school is going to drop off in the middle lane, which is that purple arrow. You'll drop off in front of building 4. Students will go to the cafeteria. They can eat breakfast. If you are dropping off elementary, you're going to whip around and you're going to follow the yellow arrow. And you're going to bypass all of this, come around to the top of the circle, and there's 2 of us standing up there opening doors and offloading students. Students will then come into the gate and head to the playground. What if you need to drop off a middle and an elementary? Go in the elementary line, drop off your middle school student in front of building 4, and then head up around the circle and drop off your elementary at the top. And it's going to be the same for pickup. If you're picking up both, go in the elementary line. If you're just picking up middle, you can go in the middle, the purple arrow line, pick up your middle school kid, and then exit off campus. Last year we had some people who were starting to line up super early, like 12:30. We're going to ask you not to do that. And if we see you on campus lining up early, we're going to ask you to leave because it becomes an issue where we get so many people lined up that if teachers need to leave or somebody needs to come on campus, they can't get out of their parking spots. It becomes a safety issue. So we're going to really kind of cut back on that and have people start lining up only an hour ahead of time. Um, so if you can help us with that, it'd be really amazing. When you leave campus, no left turns. I know you're thinking to yourself, it's not a big deal. It's a big deal. It holds up the whole line. And honestly, it's really super unsafe trying to turn left at the times that we exit school. I've watched numerous people almost get T-boned trying to cut across two lanes of traffic. You can just turn right, go down to Bionic, turn around in their parking lot. It's much easier to come back and turn left. I know that is a pain in the butt. And honestly, I don't have a way of enforcing it, but I will stare at you menacingly and point and try to get you to turn right because it makes it work so much easier. So please, 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 please turn right when you exit campus. If you're trying to, you can walk up and pick up your student at the front. Mostly that's elementary. We do have some middle school students who walk off campus that direction. What is the name of that daycare? Little Playmates? Yes. So there's a daycare on the opposite end here, the southern end. There's like a small wall. We have kids who, middle school kids who walk off that direction and meet their parent on the street. Listen, they're middle school, right? I'm not going to tell you you can't do that. But what I am going to tell you is it's probably easier to ride the bus. But let me go ahead and show you this picture a little bit better, bigger, so you can see all of our arrows and where we're dropping off. So we're in the main admin building right now, which is building 1 over here. This is all elementary. Building 2 is mostly elementary. Building 3 and 4 is all middle school. So middle school cafeteria is over here in building 4. That's where they're going to go in the morning. And then they will line up on the west side of this building to be picked up in the afternoon. It's going to be hot, so we're going to want to get them out as soon as possible because it does get pretty toasty over there. I'm forgetting something. Oh, really quick, this intersection down here, Spruce and Telshore, we just got an email that they're having a pre-construction meeting on Tuesday. So we're going to send somebody over there to listen and ask questions about what's going to happen. But I'm going to tell you that construction is going to be a beast. Once it's done, there's going to be a divider that runs the entirety of Telshore all the way past the Dodge dealership. And the only way you will be able to turn into our parking lot is if you were headed north on Telshore, like you're coming from Target. So I come up Spruce, you will not be able to make a left turn onto Telshore and then a right turn into our parking lot because there will be a divider that is going to keep you from that lane all the way past the Dodge dealership. So for somebody like me who's coming up Spruce, I'm going to have to come up Spruce, turn right, and then there's that what the heck, the storage place, and there's like a little cul-de-sac right there. I'm going to have to turn left in there, turn around, come back out, head north to get into the building. Now, it's probably going to be a year and a half, but just a heads up, that construction is coming and it's going to be rough. So just putting that out there that that's what's going to happen. All right. If you have questions about drop off or pickup, feel free to put them in the chat. But what I'd really encourage you to do, put your kid on the bus. We are one of there's only us and one other charter school that offer busing. We have 6 buses that have to service the entirety of the city. So we don't go door-to-door service. We have convenient hubs around the city for parents to come in or for kids to get dropped off at that hub. Parents can pick them up. Like my child, when he went here, he got dropped off at the Circle K at Dalrymple and I don't know the name of that road. El Camino, Doniana? I don't know. I don't know the names of roads. But anyway, it was a mile from my house, and in order for him to get home, he would have to walk across Valley. And my child is a space cadet. I was not letting him. So I went and picked him up at that Circle K. That's how it works. You can decide, I'll get you that. You can decide what bus stop works best for you and then use that bus stop. And then on our website, there's actually the bus request form. You fill that out. I did send an email with this information yesterday. Hopefully you got it. I'm going to stop sharing for a second so that I can exit out of this and show you where it is on our website. But give me a second because I don't have it up and running. All right. Share. Oh, hold on. My computer is being a little bit of a jerk. want it to show the whole thing. There we go. There we go. How's that? Works? Okay. So here's our home site, our website homepage. When you come here up at the top, you're going to click students and parents. Then you're going to come down here and next to parents, click on this little caret. And there's a couple of things here, and I'm just going to point them out because I'm here. One is our supply list. This has been posted on Facebook. It's in Dojo. It looks a little different in Dojo, so don't freak out. But it's been posted on Facebook, and here's a link here. Here is the bus routes. So if I click this, there's a Google Doc that shows you the 6 routes that we have and the stops. If a stop is not clear, shoot me an email. We'll get it fixed. We have a meeting with the bus people next Wednesday to kind of clarify all of these bus stops and make sure we're good. There's also times for when it gets picked up and when it gets dropped off on there. So once you figure out which bus route you want to do and what stop they're numbered, then you're going to come back to the website and there is a bus request form. So you're going to fill out this form and you're going to give us what bus route you want your student to ride and what stop they're going to get off on. Now, some people have extenuating circumstances where 1 week they get off at one stop and 1 week they get off at a different stop. There is a place in the form for you to tell us that so that we can accommodate that. If they only want to ride in the afternoon, we can accommodate that. If they only want to ride in the morning, we can do that as well. But they must have this form filled out in order to get on the bus. Now, listen, traffic here is nuts. I'm not going to lie. It's crazy. I encourage you to put your kid on the bus. You can pick them up at the first stop. They don't even have to go to the stop closest to your house. They can go to the stop closest to work, whatever works for you. But the bus is really the best deal. We do manage to clear the parking lot in about 20 minutes once we kind of get everything going. But the first 2 weeks, it's probably going to be 30 to 45 minutes for us to clear the line until we kind of get things moving quicker. One way you can help us is if you're coming to pick up your kid, you can put a paper in your windshield letting us know your student's name, and student name should be fine for middle school kids, so that when the adult is there kind of looking at cars, we can yell out the names and find the kids and put them in the cars. So that helps us move it a little bit faster. So Isabel, it is, they do just stand against the building wall. But if there is an issue and your child is feeling a little overwhelmed with that, we can work something out with Ms. Perez, who's our SPED case manager, and they can wait inside. We do call over the radio, students over the radio. So if we know a student's waiting inside, we can just call them on the radio and have them come out. So we have options. Don't stress out about that one. All right, I'm going to stop sharing, try to find my life again, and reshare. All right. So that's the bus routes and bus schedules on the website. And Amber, you just look at the bus routes and find the one that works best for you and the stop that works best for you, and then fill out the bus request form here on the website. So both of those are on a student parent. Open the caret up, and then they're both right there. All right. Behavior expectations. I should have changed the slide before we started this meeting, but I forgot. But I'm going to remember what I want to say. We really are focused on our behavior expectations. Students are coming here to learn, right? That's our sole purpose here. And we are not a school where a teacher is literally just lecturing the entire class and then we do worksheets. We are a seminar-based school where students are expected to participate and engage in discussions and share their thinking. So we really want to encourage that from all of our students. So we want them to be on time to school, to participate, to complete their assignments, to show respect to everyone. So if your student or if a student is being disruptive in class and the teacher can't teach, then they're going to call one of us to come remove that kid from class. And we're going to come get them and we're going to call you and be like, hey, your child's really struggling today. Can you talk to them about proper behavior in the classroom? We'll kind of de-escalate the situation. There may be a consequence from that. And then hopefully they can go back to class and finish what they're doing. But if we're seeing this become a problem and we're doing this a lot, then the consequences are going to increase. So one of the things we do here is we have the discipline matrix in our parent-student handbook, and there are points assessed for certain misbehaviors. And if a student reaches a certain number of points, then we start having conversations about, is this the school that we want, that that you belong in because you're struggling with your behavior. I don't ever want to have a student be asked to leave the school. That is not my point. My purpose here is to educate all the students. But in order for that to happen, kids have to behave in class. Um, so we want to have a supportive, inclusive environment for all students. And for that to happen, students have to show respect to everybody in the room. One of the other things that is really big is that the New Mexico state statute, the anti-distraction law, says no cell phones. So cell phones are not allowed to be used by students from drop off to pickup. So they need to be in their backpacks on silent for the entirety of the day. They don't have them out at lunch. They don't have them out at flex. They don't have them out in class. We really want kids focused on learning in class and not distracted. In that vein, we are pulling back technology. So last year at the middle school, every student had a laptop that they carried around with them all the time. We are pulling that back. We have carts. Students can use laptops in the flex period if they need to for research or studying, but really we're focused on paper pencil instruction in the classroom. That'll also help us with students accessing YouTube and watching videos instead of learning, right? We really want to focus on the learning in our classroom. You do not have to worry about giving them a Chromebook. We will take care of all of that. That hit everything I needed to hit. All right. For communication, middle school teachers mostly communicate through email. I know our sixth grade science teacher likes Class Dojo, but the majority of everybody else communicates through email. Please allow 24 to 48 hours for a response. If you're not getting a response, you are more than welcome to CC me, and I can go poke them, be like, hey, can you answer that email? But like, I'm a parent. Sometimes my kids come home and they tell me some crazy things, right? What I'm going to ask before you send off a blisteringly hot email is ask clarifying questions, right? Ask your kid, is that really what happened? Like, walk me through it. And then if you're still like not quite sure, ask clarifying questions of the teacher. Send them an email. Hey, my kid's saying this happened. Can you give me some clarification? What's going on? And then if the teacher doesn't respond, or which hopefully they will, or you're not getting a resolution, then feel free to pull in administration. We want to help. A lot of times I might get a hot email from somebody and then I go and talk to the teacher and the situation is completely misinterpreted and it could have been avoided if we had just asked some clarifying questions. So please reach out to your teachers and kind of just ask questions. What's going on, right? If you need somebody's email, the directory is on the website. Everybody's email is on there. It's basically firstname.lastname@ealascruces.com. I do send out weekly newsletters on Sunday afternoons. Please read those. There's a lot of good information in there. And upcoming events will be referenced in there as well. And if you're not getting that email, if you're like, what the heck, let me know. Like maybe it's going to spam or maybe we have your email typed in incorrectly. Just let us know. You should be getting one from me every Sunday. If my life is going well, it comes out Sunday at 1. If my life is a struggle, it comes out Sunday later in the afternoon. But it's always going to be out on Sunday. I can guarantee that. And then we also post information on our Facebook page, Explore Academy Las Cruces. All right. Trying to think if I've done everything. We are in the middle of a big switch from Power School to Synergy. We went live in Synergy July 6th. We're all trying to figure it out. So it's a brand new system for us. For those of us who were at LCPS before, we're used to the teacher part, but none of us have any admin experience in the admin part. We're learning how to do these things. So please be patient with us as we learn a new system. One of the upsides to this is now all report cards will be in Synergy. And we'll be able to post those the same way that LCPS does. We're learning how to do that. If you are newly enrolled, once we get you into Synergy, you'll be able to submit forms. We have training tomorrow at 9 a.m. for us to figure out how to get the information to you to how to sign up. Because I know when my students started LCPS, I had a special code that I had to put in. We're learning that tomorrow, how to get that code out to you. So please be patient with us. We will get it out to you as soon as we can. Yeah. All right, after school activities for middle school, really you have two options if you want your child to attend an after school program. The Boys and Girls Club does pick up here and take them to the Boys and Girls Club. They are asking that you fill out the application on their website. There is a minimum number of students in order for them to come pick up at our school, and I believe that minimum number is 5. There is a small fee for Boys and Girls Club. Apparently it's on a sliding scale. Excuse me, but that information is on their website. The city also offers Teen Connections. We're waiting for them to get us the application. If you have any questions, please feel free to email Rachel Edwards. She'll be the one who has that information. All right. And Enrich the Kids is really for elementary. Let's see here. Now, you may ask yourself, why didn't we have a flavor night the way we did in years past? Because of this big Power School to Synergy move, we had to have all of the schedules done by June 11th. And so for students who were already here on campus, we had them pick their flavors in class so that we could get those schedules started. For those who are new, we tried to email people to get flavors. I think we missed some people, and I apologize for that. But unfortunately, we were just really under the gun as far as getting that done. So for middle school, grades 6 through 8 have already picked flavors or been assigned flavors for semester 1. They will have the opportunity to select new flavors for quarters 3 and quarter 4 in the fall. So I apologize for that if we missed you. It just the deadline happened really fast and we didn't have a lot of time to get things done. So we will have flavor selection though for the spring. For our grading, this is super important. At a traditional school, at a middle school, a teacher assigns work, and as you complete that work, you're assigned a grade. And at the end of a quarter, you average all of those grades, and that's your final grade for the quarter. We don't grade like that. We do what we call mastery-based grading. So at the middle school, there are two basic categories of grades. There's core, which is like basic recall. Can you remember this? Do you understand this? And then there's flavor, where it's like really analyzing information. Can you evaluate it? Can you use the information you've learned in a new way? The standards are put in standard sets. So you might see in a grade book standard set 1 core, standard set 1 flavor, standard set 2 core, standard set 2 flavor. All right. Sorry. Core counts as 50% of the grade. Flavor counts as the other 50% of the grade. But here's the thing. Those grades are just a snapshot of where a student is at that particular week. So let's say in week 2, I give the kids a core quiz. They get a grade for that in the grade book. The next week, we learn a little bit more. I give them another core quiz. That quiz grade replaces the one from the week before. So it's not accumulating throughout the quarter. At the end of the quarter, students take a final core exam that covers everything for either the half of the quarter or the full quarter. And then they have their final flavor assessment or flavor project. That is the other half of their grade. Some teachers have it to where they're working on that final flavor like as a big end of unit project. Some teachers have it where they're doing a little bit every single week, and that grade is kind of, what do I want to say? Some of those grades will stay, some of them will be replaced. The teachers will communicate with you kind of how they want to do that, but really the final grade for the entire quarter comes from those two categories, from the core and from the flavor. All right, so that tends to be the most confusing thing for people, for middle school parents when they come in. I know I was very confused about that, but that grade as we move through is just a snapshot. So maybe one week your kid did really well, they got an A on their core quiz, but the next week maybe they were goofing around or they missed a couple of days of school and their core grade is an F. That doesn't mean they're going to fail the quarter. They have the opportunity to replace that grade the next week when they take that core quiz again. Okay, so just kind of a heads up on that one. School supply lists are posted on the website. I showed you that when we were doing the bus routes earlier. That's also posted on Facebook. Really, really important. Middle school students do not need to provide a Chromebook. Lorena, if you want to put your question in the chat, we'll try to answer that for you. At the middle school, our teachers teach in grade level teams. So the 6th grade team is Mr. Estrada for English, Miss Keller for math, Miss Terriel for social studies, Miss Bradley for science. In our 7th grade, we have Mr. Lopez for English, Miss Martinez for science, Fernandez for math, Wiseman for social studies. And at 8th grade, we have Mix Kimball for science, Mr. Avalos for social studies, Mr. Martin Likes for English, and Mr. Gately for math. For electives, Miss Sweet teaches art, Mr. Anderson teaches music, and Mr. Haynes is going to be our new PE coach. We have a full-time middle school PE coach. And then our SPED case manager will be Miss Serna Pettis. All right, last thing for a plug for PTO. PTO does a lot of great things for us on our campus, including running our book fair, running our jogathon, helping organize our trunk or treat, and they need parents to help. And I know it's really hard because all of us are doing 1,001 things, but if you can help out with PTO, that would be amazing. They meet the first Monday of every month here on campus at 5:30, or there's also there's a virtual link if you want to join the meeting virtually. They have a Facebook page where they give that information out. I also include that information on the weekly newsletter. All right, so that brings me to the end of my presentation. I wanted to say how excited we are to kind of get started. Just a heads up, middle school, as I said before, open house is next Wednesday at 6. They can meet the teachers, get their schedules, and then they start Thursday bright and early at 8 o'clock next week, which is like going to be here before we know it. So I'm going to stop recording. No, I'm going to stop sharing and then just open up Q&A. If you have questions, please type those in the Q&A and then we'll get those answered. But if you don't, excuse me, if you don't have any questions, um, hold on, it'll come to me. You're free to leave, but if you have other questions, please feel free to stay on. All right, so we have a question about pen and paper. Your son's IEP allows him to do voice to type for his schoolwork. Yes, that will still be available for him to use. For students who are on IEPs, we have computer carts. So if a kid is going to need a computer, like if they're doing something and the teacher's like, this kid needs this accommodation, they can just get a computer from the cart. And computers will still be available in Flex when he's meeting with Ms. Perez to do his work. Give me a second. I'm going to move you guys up to my big screen so I'm not staring down at my little screen that I can barely see. All right. For this first question, she's a returning student, yes? She's good to go? All right, you're good to go. So I answered that one. So for his Chromebook, he should have they should have removed the management system off of there. The hard part is you're going to have to do a power wash. So you're going to have to Google how to do a power wash of the computer, and then you should be able to, you'll have full access and there will be no more restrictions on his Chromebook. The kids should not need a Chromebook at home because we have that study flex period for them. They shouldn't be taking work home. They should not they should not need access to a Chromebook at home. So most every work, geez, it's the end of the day and my words aren't working anymore. Students should be able to complete the work in school. Buses will be running on the 23rd and 24th. Jennifer, I sent an email. It was just about this meeting and the bus routes, which you can access the bus routes from the website. But if you have a moment, if you want to shoot me an email, I can double check that I have you in the system. Like I said, we're just moving to Synergy, and I thought I pulled everybody's email, but it's entirely possible that I missed you. Can students walk to and from school? They can, but I want to be clear, we do not have a school zone in front of our school. And if they're walking, what is this direction? North, they need to wait until traffic clears because there's not a safe way for them to get to the sidewalk while we have cars moving in and out. If they exit south through the parking lot of the daycare, it's much easier for them to get to the sidewalk, but I can't endorse that because that is private property. But what they do is up to them, right? The first day of school for middle school is next Thursday, the 24th. And my email address, Jennifer, is alexis.black. No, oh, yeah, you're right. My bad. It is Thursday, the 23rd. Sorry, dates. The first day of middle school is Thursday, the 23rd. Sorry about that. My email address is alexis.black@ealascruces.com. Be patient because I'm currently running at like 55 emails. So I will try to get through them tomorrow, but no guarantees. Are the students going to be textbooks? No, they will have paper copies of whatever it is that they need. We don't have textbooks. Teachers have the freedom to kind of create whatever curriculum they have or whatever they want to use. They can use other tools to kind of make what they need. But I know when I was teaching, if we were reading an article, I just made a copy for every kid, and then they had that copy in their notebook. So we made a pocket in their notebook, and they stuck it there, and they had access to it throughout the whole class. All right, I feel like I have talked a whole lot. If you don't have any other questions, thank you for joining us. I appreciate your time. We'll hang out here for about another 5 minutes and answer any other questions that come up. But other than that, I look forward to meeting you all at Open House on Wednesday, July 22nd. I got that date right. At 6 o'clock, we'll be here. Thank you so much. Uh, did I not record? Oh, no.